Hello, and welcome to Final Show Films. I'm John, or Senstaku, as you might know me on Twitter, the executive producer here, and I just want to thank you for watching. It really means a lot to us that people watch, listen to, and enjoy our shows. If you want to help us keep making these shows as fun and lively as they can be, please join your fellow fans in supporting us at our Patreon page at patreon.com/fsfilms or by subscribing to our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/finalshowfilms. It really means a lot to us that the amount of you who do support us continue to do so, especially our $25 plus tier supporters on Patreon. Antitonic, Cat Waterflame, Samantha Bates, Maureen Monty, and Gravity Alexander. Every little bit helps, so thank you to all of our patrons and subs. Check us out on Twitter at Final Show Films and on our website at www.finalshowfilms.com for updates, go-live notifications, and more. We love interacting with you, so feel free to tweet at us or email us at finalshowfilms@gmail.com. That being said, please relax and enjoy. We're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Star Wars Twilight Nights Episode 9. I'm John. I'm the Game Master for this evening, and I'm joined today by Jeremy.
Hi, my name is Jeremy. I am playing Ileana. I am fumbling about what my character's name is because I'm not yet in Roll20.
And William.
Hi, I'm also not in Roll20 yet because this is not the computer I'm usually here on, so give me a minute. I'm playing Corsorath, the Sith Makashi duelist.
And Holly.
Hi, I'm Holly. I'm in Roll20, and I am playing Avazia, the Juo Berserker Sith Pureblood.
Also, because no one's in Roll20, no one's pointed out that the pool needs to be cleared.
Pool needs to be cleared.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I need to do
Sorry.
that.
I got in there and I went to go roll, and it's like, wait a minute.
Clear pool. Roll Destiny, Jeremy, William, and Holly.
And Crack got
As soon as I get
already
there.
rolled his, so he had two late.
I can roll again.
Oh, hang on. I can add it in. I just need to know people have rolled.
Yep.
It's the only time I've ever not rolled a single dark.
1,
Good job.
2.
Thank you.
All right. Mara.
Hi, I'm Mara, and I'm playing Neres, the droid consular. And here we go. That's the dark side.
And Jack.
Hey everybody, I'm Jack. I'm playing Graztatha, the Wookiee Xi'an expert. One dark side.
And Aaron.
Hi, I'm Aaron. I'm realizing how badly positioned my camera was, and I am playing Kitty, the other Wookiee who is an alchemist, and rolling Destiny. Okay, one light.
I have light, not 3. And Craig.
Hi, I'm Craig. I'm playing Crack Tolpa, the Quarren artisan, and I rolled 2 light earlier, but I can roll again if you need.
No, it's fine. I got it already. I'm just waiting for William's roll now.
If you want to roll for me, that would be appreciated because I have to reset my password because of me having weird password combinations and forgetting which one I'm using here.
Hey, resetting your passwords more than once is not a bad thing. It's a frustrating thing, but it's not a bad thing. All right, everyone. If your Destiny pool does not currently read 5 light 4 dark, please sync your pool with GM.
Oh, sounds good.
Yep.
And if we can start with something other than the Crack Ileana scene, that would be great.
The problem is that's literally all we've got left.
Okay, all right, never mind.
Because we left off finishing off everything else and going into that.
I mean, we could go into a
Well,
flashback on some.
It's okay.
I could
You've
try
got-
and make more
There we
bullshit
go.
items.
We've got this. We've got the text crawl before we got the text crawl for you to get done with whatever it is you're doing. So I don't know. Star
We
Wars.
also have a
I'll take it.
Wookiee. We also have a Wookiee who's still at 80 morality.
We do, which means that one of our light sides flips over to dark.
Just to make our lives harder.
I mean, you had a surplus
Thanks.
of light side this time, so it's not that bad. Jack, go ahead and use a light side for me just to flip it. Since you're the one that's over 80.
Done.
Star Wars, The Twilight Nights, Episode 9, The Outer Rim. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. The year is 3643 BBY before the Battle of Yavin, 10 years after the Treaty of Coruscant was signed. The Outer Rim. The farthest edges of the spiral arms of the populated galaxy where the rule of law runs thin and power reigns supreme. It is here that the Hutt cartels ply their trade, dealing in whatever catches their fancy: weapons, entertainment, drugs, and slaves. The desired mental and physical stimuli of any sapient species can be found in Hutt space. For a price, no morals or ethics attached. It is to this outer rim that our Twilight Squires have set their sights, answering the call for reinforcements of Archon Zilda, who waits at the Murashani station orbiting the slave colony Zugan. 2 days down the Shag-Pabul hyperlane from Nar Shaddaa, 2 weeks' worth of travel from their current location in wild space. Currently, the Shio, the freighter, what seems to be a sort of a personnel transport of some kind, is docked with the Aeon Cutter, preparing to leave. Final repairs have been finished on all the exterior visible damage. Any updates to the internals have been fixed. The transponder code has been registered with Galactic Resources as a Horizon Dawn relief effort as a Horizon relief effort vessel. So you have the proper transponders you need to go wherever you need to go. You are listed as a relief vessel, so be aware of that whenever you're interacting with customs and things.
That won't cause
Good to
any
know.
problems.
Good to know.
It's not,
I think you've caused enough problems.
You are not listed as a medical vessel, to be clear. Just a non-determinate relief vessel.
We're here to help.
This ship is a relief effort destined for Alderaan. I have no idea what you're talking about, Secret Rebel plans.
Yeah, and when we last left off, some acid was thrown, a droid got very upset, and fighting occurred. But while fighting was occurring, Ilyana was doing things prior to Craig coming down. So while we're waiting for Craig to get in front of the camera, we'll go over what Ilyana was doing while all of that was going on.
This is going to be awkward. Literally just walked into Craig's room, sat down on the bunk, on the bed, and just waits patiently. And does some meditation because, if you have time, you might as well meditate.
Sure. Give me a force roll.
All right, give me just a second. Because one of those news things that I mentioned earlier popped up, so I just have to finish posting it.
Quick, Gross, do a song and dance.
I'm here.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello.
Wait, nope.
I knew you were gonna do that specific thing.
Yeah.
Okay. What am I rolling?
Force roll.
Force roll.
Just your force die, no difficulty.
Which of my many tabs are okay? Here we
Just your force die, no difficulty.
Difficulty. Oh, well, that's encouraging.
Oh, look, a dark side. You're a dark side user, so that's good.
Yes, it is good.
So you meditate, as you are wont to do while waiting in the dark in somebody else's room.
Yes.
Presumably not for the
Happens
reasons
often.
that normally happens.
I don't know. We'll see how this goes.
I do not hear any jazz playing at the moment, but that might change.
Not what I was thinking.
So I was saying, there's two things happening here.
Why do Craig's characters always have Careless Whisper going?
I was gonna say, you say jazz. I feel like Ilyana's more of an Al Green person.
Oh, maybe. I thought I was picturing Ilyana more as a hailstorm myself.
Do not disturb.
Crack comes in somewhere beyond the
Apocalyptic.
sea.
Anyways, as you're waiting in the dark and quiet,
Yes.
Your mind wanders and flashes of imagery appear. You see a station hovering in space over a fairly verdant world. You see fields of sentience, all in slave collars. You see what looks almost like a Republic garrison, but with many garish add-ons that mark it clearly as a hut station.
Okay.
And you hear the laughter, the deep, bassy bellow of a hut laughing. And
Well,
that's
that's
all.
got me in a mood.
And as that bits of flashing end, the door slides open. Crack, you see a darkened room. But you have dark vision, so you see Ilyana sitting on a bed. I had hoped I had let that sit long enough.
Nice. Yeah, she's
Come
just
for the
sitting
characters, stay for the narration.
Like, yep. Just sitting like lotus position, just sitting on the bed. Probably with her whip at her side.
Oh. I need some limestone. Hello, Ilyana. You didn't come here for the limestone, did you?
No. Why do you need limestone?
There's
Never
a
mind. It doesn't
situation.
matter.
No, well, it might. There's acid. Why are you in my room?
And she gets up and just walks past and shuts the door.
Behind you or like in front of you?
No, in front of.
Okay.
Yeah, no, walks past, shuts the door, and that's what we've been waiting for this
I don't know.
I wouldn't have been surprised.
Okay, that's fair. But no. Shut the door. Sit.
Is she still holding her whip, or is it
Yeah, I would say so. It's not like active. It's not fired up.
my wife is in the next room, and I realized I was about to say the phrase, is she still holding the whip, or is it on the bed? No, honey, it's Star Wars. So Crack Crack sort of watches this happen, and will move so his back is a little bit to the wall, and say, well, you have my attention.
Good. Good.
And we'll move and sit.
Okay.
On the foot of his bed.
We need to. I think I need to explain some things to you.
Do you want to do it here, or should we go and stop the acid eating through the ship?
No, here's good.
Okay, but you have to help me repair the ship afterwards.
We'll see.
Okay.
So how to what do you what's your opinion on me, honestly?
With regard to what?
With regard to me.
I am fascinated by the visions you receive through the Force. I am dubious as to their accuracy, although less so than before our time on Eos. However, their efficacy when we are removed from the increased force power of Eos remains to be seen. I find you volatile, although your volatility is useful in getting to the heart of matters, such as on our recent ship flight, the nature of Nerys. Also, I am very, very intrigued by your ability to transmit matter directly to your hand.
All okay. That all tracks. Beyond what I can do, though.
What do you mean?
What I can do is not who I am.
You can see some calculations going on behind those pearlescent blue eyes. What do I think of you personally?
Thank you. Yes.
I think there's a long pause. Crack is sitting with his hands sort of folded in his lap.
Head tilt slightly to the left. That's the left.
That Eos affected you, and I saw more volatility in your emotions as well as your actions while we were there. I had thought that might have subsided once we returned to the Aeon Cutter and had been removed from the excess exposure to the Force, but he sort of gestures around. You're here in my room, in the dark, and have closed us in.
Mm-hmm.
I find you a little frightening. Purely from the perspective that I am not completely certain that you are still not here to stab me.
That's fair.
Beyond your capacity for sudden and unexpected violence, I find you insightful. And I find your practicality combined with the faith in the visions you receive to be puzzling.
Sorry, can you say that part again? My brain just literally stopped functioning with that last sentence.
Sure. I find the practicality of your personality and your general nature conflicts with your utter faith in the visions that you receive through the Force. I have trouble deciphering whether you are taking an action based on instinct in the moment or based on faith in a vision that you may or may not have received at some point in the past, or maybe receiving at this moment in the present.
Why can't it be both?
Because practicality and instinct seem to conflict with the reliance on prophecy and vision. But they do not for you in practice, which is why I find that difficult to understand.
Yet they don't. It's really the same thing.
But for most people, it is not. Even those of us with a connection to the Force, and you must understand and appreciate that on some level.
I mean, I hear it and I accept it. I don't any more than I think you understand the other side, I guess.
The instinct, you mean?
I have problems understanding what your perspective as much as you on mine, I guess. I accept it. Sure, okay. But I don't know. I don't even know what that means, I guess.
Which is understandable considering and I am making an assumption, I realize, but the visions have been part of your perception of the universe for years, if not your entire life, correct?
Much as I can remember, yeah.
Is this something, well, before Crack would ask that out loud, is that something that he knows is just part of Dathomirian culture? Or would he not know that?
You wouldn't know that.
Okay. Is this something that all Dathomirians share? Is it a unique trait to yourself, or merely those among the Dathomirians who are particularly sensitive to the Force and its visions?
I think it's just me. I don't. There's I think they probably have a different perspective than you, but they definitely have a different perspective than me, as far as I could understand. I don't know. I didn't when you're younger, you don't think that anybody has different perspective. And I didn't even think about it until the time where I realized it was time for me to go.
Did you choose to go on account of a vision?
Yes. Not a vision, just a sense. And at that point, it did not go over well. And that was kind of the first time I ever understood there was a different perspective to have.
Did you ask permission when you left?
No. There's no reason that it wasn't theirs to give. Whatever they may think.
But you were aware of disapproval. You informed them of your departure.
Oh yes, I'm fairly sure that you don't really leave the Night Sisters. That's so yeah, anyways. So I'm asking because you're right. Your assistant is actually really canny, and I'm both impressed and a little. Anyways,
Thank you. Observation is what I do, Ilyana. It's not always correct, but thank you for the opportunity to at least run my assessments by you.
So, okay. Well, we're good then. You have to fix a ship.
Crack stands and says, "So I did actually answer your question then."
I think so, yeah.
Craig nods and says, "Okay. Would you like to come help me fix the acid burns?"
Do you need the help?
He pauses again and says, "I'd like the help."
I suppose.
And we'll grab some lime powder and any other basic compounds that he has available, and probably some scrap metal as well to repair the much larger hole than there was when he first came down here.
I don't know how, but you managed to recreate the scene where Sasuke gives Naruto his lunchbox perfectly. Reference two people will get. Anyways,
I was gonna say,
yeah, neither of the people in the scene get it.
No,
I believe that there was a mention in the scene about accepting a statement as valid without having any understanding of what it means.
Anyways,
Exhibit A.
Yep. And she just heads off.
So,
all right.
Seemingly fully satisfied at the moment.
You head up to the to where the acid smoke was and find regular smoke in its place, as well as nobody else.
So nothing is still burning, or there's smoke
No,
coming
it's
from
it's still like the chemical cloud is still there, but it has been neutralized.
Okay. All right, then Crack will put down the neutralizing components, and we'll take a look at the plating, and probably more importantly, the wiring and piping underneath the plating.
It doesn't look like it looks like it's mostly just superficial damage. Nothing significant. It just there is acid scarring on the plates now.
Okay. I mean, we're mid-travel, but still.
No, we hadn't left this.
No, we
station.
haven't even taken off yet.
No,
No.
it's real bad. We're very.
Neither one of the people that know how to fly
All
the
of this
ship have gone.
started
I
with,
started
Hey,
flying.
do you want me to make you some equipment?
Yep.
Well, I mean, Crack could fly, but I think he'd rather have this fixed. So he will start just repairing the plating if possible.
You know, it's easy to repair. You could just leave it there and you'd have a really nice, interesting acid etched section of the hallway, or you could very easily buff it out. It doesn't even require any additional tools. It's just buffing the acid etching off.
Okay.
You get a little you get a little hand spinner that has like a steel wire thing on it, and just
Yep.
until it's smooth.
Okay. Yeah. Crack will say, "All right, well, let's get buffing," and we'll pull off sort of his jacket to reveal like just the rubberized top of his coveralls underneath, and we'll pass the other buffer to Ilyana.
See, I thought you were going to say takes off his jacket to reveal just how buff he is, because I believe he's got a decent brawn.
I mean that as well. I mean, he's like a stocky fire plug type Corrin. So he takes it off. He's probably half a head shorter than Ilyana. How tall is Ilyana?
You're the definition of an Italian boxer, short but wide.
Right.
Ilyana is, I don't know. Somewhere on the sheet, I believe.
Because Crack's about 5'6", so.
Yeah,
but anyway,
he's probably got a couple inches on her.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, so we'll hand the buffer over and then just go to work, assuming that
doing just supervise. Okay, fine.
So it doesn't take very long for you to dissipate the liquid the liquid the gaseous liquid in the air and buff out the acid etchings on the floor and walls.
Gaseous liquid. They're like throwing handfuls of powdered limestone.
Yeah.
Let's burn some sage.
So yes, you have all resolved for the moment the two things that were happening on the ship prior to it taking off. Is there anything else anyone would like to do before the ship takes off?
Anyone else need to attempt to kill someone?
There was no attempt to kill.
There was one attempt to kill.
There was
one attempt.
Actually,
there will be, but we haven't gotten there yet.
I mean, I'll just say there are several other rooms to sneak into, although I think everybody else is smart enough to lock their rooms.
I mean, if Ilyana has poked around, if Ilyana has poked around the ship at all, Graz has never once locked his room.
Yeah, Kitty similarly. The lab does seem to be occasionally locked, like when she remembers. But the personal rooms, no.
I like how you in the room notations. It's Graz, Nereis, Crack, Ilyana, Kitty, Sith.
Yeah, because there's two of them in that room.
There's a lot of letters.
That's our couple names.
Couple name is Sith.
That's their ship name.
Yes.
Ship name.
It's the Sith.
I mean, you do have the letters of Sith in your name, the SI in Avasia and the TH in Korsarath. So it works.
Yeah.
That is a really roundabout. It's like those acronyms where they clearly wanted it to spell something specific.
Yeah, the backronyms that pop up.
Shield and sword and specter and all sorts of things. Yeah.
Yep. Anyways.
Sith happens, is what we're saying.
So, eventually, the hallway is cleaned up, and someone is taking the pilot's chair to take the ship out of the ion cutter and set your destination. Being the destination being, I said it in the tech spiel, the Murashani station.
Yep.
Who's doing that pilot role?
Crack can do it if Nerys is not.
Do we need to do an astrogation or no?
You got to have a computer, so you don't have to make astrogation.
Okay.
Well, that depends on if Gross has moved. Because I'm not going toward that. They were at the very front of the ship, right?
Graz was at the access to the bridge, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And Corsair standing between everything and in the middle of this conversation, acting as the mediator somehow.
Yep. Well, I can pilot us out into space.
You had better get started on that then.
And I will edge around and go and head us out.
All right.
Cool. Graz is going to follow you.
Okay.
Go ahead and give
Crack.
me a...
There's a look to Corsarath and just a shrug.
Corsair looks at Kitty. There's this momentary, just like deadpan, and then just... There's this sort of exasperated sigh.
Go ahead and give me a piloting space roll.
Okay.
Difficulty 2.
All right.
Graz, I feel like the pilot will do a better job of not crashing us into an asteroid if you don't loom over their shoulder.
He's definitely not. They're definitely not looming. They're just.
Oh.
I mean, you're sort of filling the door.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a
off
wash.
to the side or whatever.
Nerys,
You're a Wookiee. You're filling whatever space you are in.
Oh, sorry. Let me put on my short pants that I
Right?
can use. You know, right?
It's a wash, so it's not a failure.
Okay.
You do manage
That's good.
you manage to take the ship out of the ion cutter. It's not particularly graceful. It's not particularly smooth. There's a lot of
It's like
there's a bit of shaking. The entire ship itself shakes kind of as the gravity, the artificial gravity of the ion cutter lets go, and the artificial gravity of the Shio takes hold. And there's just like, so there's that sort of that gravity differential just sort of causes a little bit of turbulence as you're leaving, which happens mostly with rookie pilots as opposed to more experienced ones. But you know, it is what it is. You temporarily forget to raise the landing gear, and Biggs has to dodge out of the way, and but the ship takes off.
Can I make a co-pilot? Can I make a co-piloting roll to like hit the button for the landing gear and make the adjustments?
Yeah, you don't need to make a roll for that. Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Crack.
I watched you.
Sure, go ahead. Give me a piloting space roll. Oh, you watched it.
I did. It was
That
bad.
is totally the Galaxy Quest.
Yep.
The scream.
Please don't crash the ship.
So,
It's our first mission.
I legitimately don't know. Are there mechanical guidelines for what happens when you fail just navigating?
So you didn't fail, and you didn't fail badly enough for those things to come into play.
I'm just curious if there are.
yes, there are.
those
If you
guidelines.
fail,
Oh, they're 100%.
if you don't have an
extensive and have their own crit table.
if you don't have a navicomputer, someone makes a roll, either an astromech or a person. People have a higher non-astromechs have a higher difficulty on the roll, and if you fail, basically it takes more time. You can also occasionally, or you fly into a planet or a star, but typically the result is it takes longer than it would otherwise.
That's a wide variance of success to failure.
Yeah, so
Takes longer, you
that's
fly into a
it under
star.
if they roll 3 despair.
Yeah, that's multiple
Mhm.
despairs that you
Yeah.
fly into a star. You have to have really fucked up, and something has to be upgrading the difficulty of your roll significantly.
Times for that to even be a possibility. Yeah.
One despair is just you crash land onto a planet.
But yeah,
3 is when you hit the star.
but
Kitty, did you get burned by acid?
No,
What's
what
this whole
happened?
acid thing, anyways?
I thought it was a hallucinogenic.
Okay. So
it's a long story that does not currently bear being dredged up.
I'll tell you guys later. And there's like this very socially awkward and obvious like wink.
It's really hard for it's really hard for Wookiees to wink too because it's all fur and the fur covers up the more minuscule like transactions. So it kind of just looks like Kitty has a spasm in one eye.
I was gonna say, do you have space pink eye?
Crack does that sort of undulating motion with the face tendrils, almost like squid sort of moving itself along, which is again kind of the Quoran equivalent of a hand wave. And he says, "It's all right. I've had experimentation mishaps as well. There's a part of my skin that won't change color anymore."
Avazia looks at them and says, "Neri's attack, Kitty."
Oh, okay.
But
I thought we weren't supposed to say that.
I've never had that happen in the lab.
Let's at least not get into the conversation about it while there is a particularly angry Wookiee still standing next to said droid.
I mean, the question.
I'm going to go down to my room. There's another of those very aggressive winks.
This is why I like you, Ileana.
The ship hits hyperspace.
Am I the sane one here?
You can continue your conversation. I just noted that you hit hyperspace.
That's exactly why am I the sane one here?
Nerys, why did you attack Kitty?
Kitty, who is already walking out of the room, will sort of put a hand along Crack's shoulder and try and guide him.
I'm co-piloting. You can stay. We can all talk together.
Hey, dude, we are in hyperspace.
We're in hyperspace.
Now.
We don't need to co-pilot.
Does Nerys answer the question at all?
No.
Correct. We'll stand up and walk along with Kitty.
I will sort of look over to see if Ileana wants to come.
No, Ileana just looks at Cursa and says, "You're not necessarily the sanest. You were just the sanest on your level of perspective."
No, I'm not even the sanest as far as my perspective is concerned. That's why I'm bothered by being the sane one right now.
I mean, technically, you're the sanest, and you are both, and the least sane all at once in your perspective, because nobody has your perspective. I'm just saying.
You've never crawled in someone's mind before.
Only the one time.
You can have someone else's perspective if you try hard.
If you try hard enough, yeah.
It's still not their perspective entirely. It's still technicalities of mind of telepathy. Okay.
There's the Heisenberg mind reading uncertainty principle here,
right?
And
when you begin reading their mind, is it the same mind as it was before you began reading it?
Well, no, because you still have your own mind transplanted over that, so you have two different perspectives melding into one, which creates an entirely new perspective. Therefore, it's not the same perspective as that one.
I will say what I put in chat. # just mystic things.
Yeah, exactly.
I read that as just my stick things, and I was trying to figure out what stick was. No, you didn't misspell it.
No, you absolutely
you didn't misspell it. My brain parsed it wrong.
Fair.
You absolutely spelled it.
No, I was sorry.
No, it's just where you draw the lines and hashtags. My brain will occasionally fuck up.
It's so hard. It's basically impossible.
It's just like, wait, what? Why? Because I can see the words inside the words, and that's not helpful. Anyways, so you're in hyperspace now. Kitty has gone downstairs. Crack has followed Kitty. Ileana and Course are out there having a conversation about individualizing perspectives. Graz is staring at Nerys, I think, and the ship is flying.
I love how even with one small scene we had to do, it still took us an hour to get to actually getting into hyperspace.
We're there, though. Success.
You've got a week until you hit. You've got a week until you hit. Why is the name of the thing that I made blanking out of my brain?
The hyperlane?
No, you've got a week. You've got a week until you hit. You've got a week until you hit Murashani Station. Or sorry,
okay.
You've got 2 weeks until you hit Murashani Station. Sorry, a week until you hit.
It's gonna be like the Nostromo in here, except we're just hunting each other.
You've got 2 weeks to Murashani, 1 week to the Midrim change point.
Okay.
We are all a xenomorph.
I literally
like,
just
inside the vents. Crack pops out like, "You want to talk
about?" Yeah. Okay. So Kitty will go to like, I don't know, somewhere on the lower floors. Okay. So we're not talking. Or should I start? No, that's not a good place to start. What have you learned about Wookiees?
What? And this is Craig not hearing that super well. Was that what if or what have?
What have you learned about Wookiees?
Okay. Let me. Can I make a xenology check to see? Yeah.
Difficulty 2.
Okay. One advantage.
You know they are large bipedal mammals. You know that they have a society that is tribalistic in nature, as well as vaguely naturalist. You know that they come from a forest planet called Kashyyyk, and you know that they're big and can tear your arms off.
Crack will list pretty much all of that except for the last part. And then we'll go on to list his own personal observations. Like, I know that one of them is very good in hand-to-hand combat. I know another one of them is very good at creating artifacts and experimentation. I know that one time one of them was attacked by a droid, and I do not know why that happened.
Okay, so I'm going to explain why, but first I'm going to explain why we weren't having that conversation upstairs. Have you ever heard the thing about how you shouldn't make a Wookiee angry because they will rip your arms off?
Yes.
I was just informed that by the GM. Yes.
So my brother is very close to being quite angry right now because Neri's attacked me. And we're
not
trying
at me.
to have him not realize that he still wants to rip off Neri's arms. So
should we have left
in front of him right now?
Should we have left them with Nerys? Crack looks a little nervous and says, "Should we have left them with Nerys then?"
They know I'd be very disappointed, so they'll only do it if it's important. It's not actually a huge concern. I think Korsrath just didn't want to play Peacekeeper again.
That does not strike me as something that Korsrath would be very good at. And then Crack considers
scale.
Yeah, Crack considers that for a moment. Although actually, maybe they would be very good at it and just don't like doing it.
Okay. So that setting aside, briefly, Neri's got mad at me, and instead of like yelling at me or talking it out, they swung a lightsaber at me. So I left. So they tried to siphon off my soul with the Force. I threw what I thought was hallucinogenics and was actually acid. And left.
I have several questions.
Okay, one at a time, please.
Was this because of the bones?
Not directly, no.
So it didn't have anything to do with our experimentation. We didn't activate some sort of murder protocol or anything of that sort.
I have no reason to believe that.
Okay. Crack will take out a data pad and put notes and put murder protocol ? At the top of the
Probably a bad thing to bring up if we want to keep peace on this ship we're gonna have to be on for a week.
That's okay. Many of the other people on the ship have organic versions of murder protocols.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the part about draining your soul, Crack seems like he has an issue with that word. But Nari's channeled a force power.
Yeah. So explaining force powers to people who can't do them is always weird. Have you ever been healed by force or seen that happen?
I feel like probably. John, what do you say? I mean, Crack is not
Yeah, you've probably seen
particularly cautious.
Actually, you've been healed by force. It happened. I don't know, that was medical. No, yeah, but I'll say you've definitely been healed by the force previously.
I don't know. I was assuming we live on a ship full of high-level Jedi.
Yeah. And
Probably
Crack does
something.
stupid stuff while working on machines.
So you can turn that same power, that infusion of life essence and knitting of life together, the other way, and you can push kill. It's not like the same as the other thing.
It's unhealing.
Well, I understand the concept. You are, rather than reversing cellular damage, you're accelerating cellular damage. Did it feel as though you had aged excessively, or does it feel as though there was a wound occurring in that portion of your body?
Neither. It's more like it's directly what harm is as a power.
It is the concept of harm being inflicted upon you.
This is a conversation between an engineer and a philosopher.
Yeah.
Or an engineer and an alchemist, to be more precise. Because it's not philosophy. Kitty can actually do this.
Have you tended the wound yet?
These kinds of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's healed. It's just gonna take some time for the skin to grow back.
Was it necrosis? How did it present?
Yeah, necrosis would be an accurate descriptor.
Necrosis is close enough. We're going to a hut planet. I'm sure that you'll get to see plenty of us use it on people who aren't each other pretty soon.
Oh, be sure to give me the high sign when you do. Just tell me when you're going to use it. That way I can look. And then Crack sits back and thinks about this and says, maybe we should work out some sort of code. Maybe you shouldn't scream, I'm going to harm them. Wait, no, that is the sort of thing you say in fights.
I don't know. I usually don't say much.
Just say that, but wink.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay.
Put that in my notes.
Are you and Nari's going to be able to cohabitate for the rest of this trip?
I'm going to harm them. Wink.
Wink.
Why would that be a problem?
Well, Nari's attacked you and you threw acid at Nari's. That's the sort of thing that can have unintended consequences.
Kitty seems to think very hard. Well, I don't see why it would be a problem. It's in the past.
Well, did you resolve
the only concern is Graz, obviously.
Did you resolve the source of the matter that was the cause for the initial attack?
I think so.
No, we established that it wasn't actually able to replicate anything.
Yes, but does
that part, yes.
resolve it from Kitty's perspective? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and that's obviously that's the only answer Crack would get is from Kitty's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry. So
But
Aaron, what does Kitty say?
Not to re-aggravate this by poking around it, because while I don't really care that I got attacked by an ally, Graz probably does. And I know Graz pretty well. Because we're the same person.
Of course, you're the same person.
We're the same... person might not be the right word. We're the trunks of the same tree.
Oh. No understanding. Well, not as well as you, of course, but I know Graz pretty well. I've put a weighted end on Graz's stick. Thinks for a moment. Comfortable with how that sounds. I could talk to them.
Please don't. That's exactly what I'm asking you not to do.
Oh, I misunderstood. I could talk to Graz about other things.
What?
If you're confident you can actually do that and not do that for the purposes of something else, I don't care.
Very much so. Okay. Should I not talk to Nerys?
Again, other things, but actually other things, not that thing where you're actually talking about the thing, but you're sort of trying to make it seem like you're not talking about the thing. Like, actually don't talk about the thing.
I don't do that thing.
Okay. Well, make sure no one misunderstands that you were doing that thing.
I'm not good at not being misunderstood, but I will try.
Oh my god.
Okay. Trying's important.
Kitty, you're sure you're all right?
Yeah. I don't care.
Insight check.
Yeah, go for
cool
it.
roll.
What's the insight when you're telling the truth?
Difficulty 2. Nothing.
Okay. Sorry.
That's fine.
Oh, wash again.
Flat roll.
Doing Kitty's rolls.
Kitty seems.
Well, I don't know how much you get off of a flat roll, but
nothing.
Yeah.
You get me saying Kitty seems honest.
Okay.
Whether or not that's true or not, I cannot confirm, but Kitty seems honest.
Okay. Okay. Well, if you do want to discuss anything else having to do with Nerys, having to do with our findings about Nerys.
Talisman.
Oh! Tell me about it.
So, I was thinking, and this is probably where we can cut the scene.
Okay.
New notes document.
Nobody can keep a level of conversation going consistently through one thread of topic.
I was trying to segue the scene, okay?
Yeah.
Scene segues. Is there anything anybody else is doing for the next 2 weeks? Or should we resolve Graz and Nerys in the cockpit first?
I mean, it's fairly easy to resolve Graz and Nerys in the cockpit. Graz watches the entire takeoff sequencing, makes a few mental observations, probably hangs out for another 10 minutes, and then fucks off.
All right. Scene resolved.
Yep.
All right.
Crack would like to track down Graz at some point.
Well, let's go around and see if anybody else has anything first.
Sure.
Anything else, Jack?
For the next 2 weeks, Graz is mostly going to be training with his saber, primarily, probably with Corsorath and Avasia if they're available. There are at least 1 or 2 attempts to try and get Ilyana to spar at least once or twice as well, if Ilyana's willing.
Absolutely, because that's mostly what Ilyana has a very particular type of weapon to get practiced in using accurately. And, in a fight is not the good first time to try that out.
Let's see how this thing works.
He's somewhat experienced in the use of whips. He does carry a regular whip around. But
William?
I think Corsarath is, largely speaking, practicing, but also probably just keeping an eye on the crew, because he's realized that he's the only person here who doesn't want someone dead or actively makes someone want them dead. So,
Holly?
Avazi is mainly just training.
Right.
For the next couple days, she'll kind of keep an eye on us. Make sure he's not going to murder Neres.
On who?
Graz.
Sorry, yeah, you cut out on the.
Sorry. Yeah,
sorry,
Graz.
you cut out on the proper noun part of the sentence, but. All right, Mara.
Neres leaves the rock in Graz's room at some point. When you're training, at some point you come back and there is the rock. It's just on the floor.
Okay.
The special training rock.
You leave the rock. Yeah. He cuts a promo.
He buries
reboots a franchise in his spare time.
He buries Graz.
The Rock is a busy man.
He buries Graz in the eyes of the universe.
Right.
And then mostly doing meditation, probably.
Okay. All right. Crack, you find Graz at some point.
Probably will go in and track Graz down while training.
So, lightsabers are flashing, colliding, sparks are flying, both physically and metaphysically.
Crack will wait patiently while this sparring match finishes, and then afterwards, Graz, can I have a go?
Of course.
Crack will ignite his saber and come out and take that sort of Niman style ready position.
Okay.
Yep.
And you begin to spar.
What's a Shio?
It's a bird.
From your home planet?
I've never heard of them living anywhere else.
What sort of bird is it?
Massive, predatory, dangerous.
Big horn,
Why did you name the ship that?
When you see the Shiu bird, it's meant to be a harbinger of peace. It's a symbol, an icon on Kashyyyk.
Why do the Wookiees consider a predatory bird a sign of peace?
I would love to know.
You can give me a lore check. Difficulty 3.
Okay. 3.
I mean, I know, but that's me as a person.
Boop. 2 failures, 2 advantage.
And before your time.
Yep. That's simply how it's always been described and venerated. Perhaps because when you're that large and that dangerous, no one is willing, if they're wise, to antagonize you.
So the Wookiees value peace by being large enough to scare off any reprisal.
That's my best attempted interpretation. Is this about your worries because Neres attacked my sister?
No, I wanted to know why you named the ship something like this.
Because it seemed like you were leading to something. But yes.
Yes, I'd
Hopefully,
like to know.
When our ship reaches wherever it's going, the end result is that we leave things more peacefully resolved than when we find them.
Now you're the one who sounds like you're talking in metaphors. It's like the sparring scene from Princess Bride, but one of them is really bad.
Right.
Ilyana's just sitting there watching back and forth.
Right.
In its match.
Do you think this ship will be a symbol of peace? Or do you hope so?
It has potential. I would hope so.
And you were among those who thought that this was the best place for us, correct? The Outer Rim, I mean.
The Outer Rim, I thought it was probably easier.
I know that your sister and I would like to find additional materials and funding for our work and our studies. What are you looking to accomplish?
And at that, Graz actually deactivates their lightsaber. Slips it back into the utility belt.
Crack immediately turns his off as well as soon as he sees the other saber go off.
As a young Wookiee, my father once had a conversation with me. He and my mother were healers. They went out of their way to attempt to make lives around them better, safer, more comfortable. I, when younger, was inclined to, alongside my sister, find myself wandering off following my own impulses. And apparently to sometimes the detriment of our village. Was after one of my misadventures, my father sat me down and asked me what I saw in my future. As a young Wookiee, I did not really have much of a thought for what the future would bring, and I had no answer for him. I don't remember how he led into it, but he talked a bit about the purposes that he and my mother had selected for themselves when they married, and then he asked me a question. He said, "Son, when you grow up, would you be the savior of the broken, the beaten, and the damned?" And that has haunted me for quite a while. So, that is the purpose that I have more or less set for myself, starting with my sister, and then wherever I find myself within the galaxy, trying
Your father leave you to join the Brown Parade.
Black Parade.
You're on a wood planet. It's the Brown Parade.
And so I'm hoping that wherever we end up, we are going to a planet where apparently slavery is the reality that most of the sentients there live with daily. And I hope that our presence there will bring peace to some people who are very much in need of it.
Well, we are a relief organization.
Yes.
Thank you, Graz. I would say, let me know how I can help, but that seems to be the purpose of our trip.
Indeed. That's primarily why I wanted to go to the Outer Rim. It seemed straightforward.
Sometimes straightforward is helpful.
Your bladesmanship is improving.
Thank you. Yours remains an impenetrable bastion of absolutely terrifying sabermanship. Sabership. Whatever the term would be. That's me not knowing.
Bladesmanship.
But I mean, with regard to a Wookiee, a non-binary Wookman, Blade Wookship.
Blade personship.
Bladecraft.
Bladecraft.
Ooh,
Bladecraft.
Thank
you, Mara.
We're going to use that one. Thank you.
Absolutely impenetrable bastion of terrifying bladecraft.
Well, one of the things I strive for. Well, hopefully it will stay intact.
Thank you for the sparring and for the pointers and for the explanations.
Of course.
And remember, all of that was delivered in growls and barks and yips because Grouse is a Wookiee.
Yes.
You know, you'd think for a 7-foot fireball, he'd be better going on the offensive. Of course, Ross says from his own sparring match with Abazia.
Do either of you want to spar?
I'd love to.
Okay.
Kill him.
There's just a little quiet applause over it on whatever Ileana's sitting on.
Kitty has been watching a lot of the sparring, but not participating so much because last time it did not go well. By which I mean it went
You've
well.
probably gotten used to the fact that Corsair had a sharp tongue while he's sparring.
Mm-hmm.
Crack looks over at Graz after Avasia responds, and in a very matter-of-fact tone says, I don't have any completed prosthetics, but just know I'm working on a few. They're under my bed in my room. You're muted, Jack.
Graz nods and winks and gives Crack some room.
And again, it's really hard for Wookiees to wink because of all the fur and
right.
It's just
I feel like Graz is probably far better at it than Kitty is.
I'm just picturing him moving the fur up. And
yeah, yeah. That's exactly
I was
why.
gonna say you can do it mostly with like the mouth. You know,
that's
And
why
Kitty
Graz is better at
definitely
it.
does it with like half of the body.
Like with Graz, it's with Kitty, it's like a half body spasm. With Graz, it's just a face spasm.
All right. Crack will reignite his saber, take that sort of awkward Niman stance, remember to salute, and then try not to die.
Avasia, are you actually trying to kill Crack?
No, she'll just spar with him.
Okay, no rolls needed.
Can we do it though? Can we?
If you want to roll, yeah, go ahead.
Have a lightsaber punch up.
Just roll your lightsaber skill, difficulty 2.
How is Avasia approaching this?
Probably pretty aggressively.
As is the Juyo way.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I do have slightly higher defense because of I have defense 1 because of my defense saber.
You're not actually attacking each other. This is just for skill of spar. So.
Oh, okay.
Out of nowhere, with no possible explanation of where it came from, Ileana now has popcorn.
Well, you do have that summoning skill.
Only works on items you've prepared, and Ickard popcorn does not sound good.
I don't know.
Ickard popcorn.
No, but Kitty could conjure a bowl.
We put fish sauce on popcorn sometimes. That's kind of like Ickard.
There is something wrong with you.
Try it, my friend.
No.
All right, 2 advantage, no success.
So Niman and Juyo are actually like opposites, are designated opposites on the sort of lightsaber forms. Juyo is this very much embracing of a warrior mentality and constant aggression and aggro, and Niman is very much more analytical and not necessarily opposite as in defensive, but opposite of approach. Where Niman is a analytical, planning out, and sort of almost mathematical fighting style. Crack, you're not good at it yet. You know the basics of it, but you know the basics of it, and Avasia is pulling her punches, so you are able to get your blade in the way of the attacks that are coming. But Avasia seems to have taken the lessons that she learned from Saris to heart, and has just basically become an avalanche that is crashing down on you in lightsaber-wielding Sith form. Just constant attacks from all angles, and you are just barely managing to get your lightsaber in the way each time.
It's like an avalanche coming down on rather than a well-angled, well-shored up Ranger's Lodge. It's a tent.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Craig starts giving ground almost immediately and probably doesn't stop until he's out of the ring.
Boom, 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 back, forth, left, right, up, down, out.
Doesn't stop until you guys have he like backs into his room and shuts the door off.
I was gonna say, he'll keep going for a few minutes.
Back to the Crack's back is at the wall at this point.
She'll get a couple hits in and then.
Poor Crack.
There's a flurry of blows, Crack, and it looks like Avasia misses. And then you sort of look to the side and you see that there's like a perfectly etched out like rectangle around you in the wall from where the lightsaber hit.
She'll just lean into him for
It's kind of like chalk lines around a dead body, but lightsaber scoring on the wall.
Amazing.
She'll lean into him for a minute. You make a good practice dummy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I thought it was my job to put my opponent off their balance with mental attacks.
She shrugs.
Avasia put her opponents off balance with physical attacks.
Can I roll to see what I learned about Avasia's saber during the sparring match?
Sure, give me a mechanics check. Difficulty 3.
Yana just says, and you thought I was the one to be scared of.
I'm going to use a light side point on this.
Sure, go ahead.
Three success and an advantage.
As I recall, yours is just a basic lightsaber, right, Avasia?
Mm-hmm.
What's it look like? Just to refresh our memory.
It's the saber is red, and then the handle is black and gold, and just comes to a single point. It's a very simple design.
Yeah, it's got like sort of a spike pommel instead of a flat one.
Yes. Yeah.
It from what your observations correct, the lightsaber is fairly basic. Like the design fits Avasia's aesthetic, but the other than that, it's not anything really different. It's fairly basic. The only difference between it and a training lightsaber is it doesn't do stun damage.
How many hard points does it have?
It would have 5, 2 of which are taken up by a lightsaber crystal.
Does Avasia wield it with both hands?
Yes.
Okay. After the he says thank you. Is she turning and walking away?
Mm-hmm.
He says, you could probably get a better grip on it if you extended the hilt.
I
noticed you. No, but I noticed you come in with both hands quite a bit. Use a lot of overhand swings. If you had more of a hilt, you'd be able to use a bit more leverage, get more damage out of the attacks, maybe even push it through and do a little bit more harm when you attack someone else.
I like it the way it is. Thank you.
Kitty, he will ask Ilyana for some of the popcorn.
Oh yeah.
Okay, if you sure.
Vazio walks away, grabs a piece of popcorn, walks out.
Crack pulls out his data pad and makes a few notes.
You got your ass kicked.
Space popcorn.
Corsorath looks at her walking away, turns the lightsaber off, and immediately back to that dower. You know, she always walks off immediately after beating someone. She never stays. She only stays when she's losing.
In response to Ilyana's comment, Crack turns and with a tentacle arrangement that denotes good cheer, says twice in a row.
Yep.
And we'll continue taking some notes, and we'll go and sit next to Ilyana.
And as the rest of the 2 weeks pass in relatively the same motions, we're going to be taking a quick break. Please stay tuned for these commercial messages. We're back. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. So, the Shio spends a couple weeks in hyperspace. Lots training is had, as well as discussions about various alchemical potentialities and such. You all feel, wherever you are on the ship, the sudden deceleration that is indicative of coming out of hyperspace. I don't know if Nereus would already be in the cockpit, but this would be the time to do it. Would be heading to the cockpit.
Nereus likes to fly, so
Yeah, Crack would as well. He's been tracking the time.
So
would be up there in the co-pilot seat.
The string of white and blue lines come to a halt as the stars reassert themselves in their pattern, and you sit above a fairly verdant-looking planet. It's lots of greens and blues that you can see from outer space. And above it, sort of hovering on the horizon from where you're entering at, is a large spike-like space station. It is typical of a Hutty space station. Words I can combine. Spations, yeah, space station. It is typical of a Hutt station design, which is that it is very rough around the edges. It looks almost cobbled together from various pieces, like as if, as they do, they got it from the cheapest. They sold to the cheapest bidder. And it is a vertical spike that ends in a long tether that connects it to the planet, likely some sort of planetary freight elevator that heads up to and from the station. It is fairly large for it being this spike-like station, as you can see a few dozen freighters of varying sizes tethered to the station at various ports. It looks like it can hold about 30 spaceships at a time in temporary dock. There are very likely planetary docks as well that can hold more on the planet, but you were told to meet at the station. As you come out of hyperspace and begin your approach, the comms ring, and you hear a modulated voice speaking in Huttese, coming over the thing. Freighter ship the Shio. Transponder. Please submit your transponder codes.
We'll do that.
Okay, you submit. Request no. Sorry. No. What is the wording that I'm trying to find? What's the word for manifest? That's what I'm thinking. No manifest documented. What is the purpose of your visit?
Nereus is taking over control.
You're both there. Yeah. You can both speak if you
want. Off comm. Do we have a manifest actually for the relief mission?
No, you are not carrying cargo, so you don't have a cargo manifest. And your ship is designated as a relief vessel, but it doesn't have any supplies on it.
Yep.
You don't need a manifest. You're not an importer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for off-comm, Crack says, should we say relief personnel?
If you want, yes. You can give me a If you want, you can give me an outer rim, or a. There's no mercantile knowledge roll, is there?
There's negotiation, but not knowledge based. I guess we could roll negotiation with knowledge as the base instead of presence.
You could roll me. Most of the mercantile knowledges are covered in I think they're
education.
Education, yes. You can roll me an outer rim or an education roll. That would be the one.
I'll roll education, and I'll spend
difficulty 2.
A destiny point on that.
Yep.
Difficulty 2.
Yep.
You and roll that with difficulty 3. Because I have not spent a destiny point before. What does that do again?
It upgrades. So, on the left-hand side of your dice pool, where it says upgrade,
I upgrade 1.
Put that at 1. Yep.
Cool.
God damn it! Yep. I didn't click out of the difficulty box when I changed it. These things are always so fussy. Of course, it's worse.
3 successes for me.
So with 3 successes.
Oh wait, still upgraded. You don't have to wait. That's just me saying the word wait.
With 3 successes, Nerees. Relief personnel coming to connect with on-site personnel of the Horizon Relief Organization would be enough of a reason to be here. Like you're coming to basically what that says is you are here to support somebody else who is already here, and thus they should already know why you're here, and if they don't, it's their and not yours kind of thing.
Coming in to connect with Horizon Relief personnel already on station.
There's a pause, and then in Huttese again it comes over. Roger, connect to docking tube 32.
Confirmed, and I'll head that way.
A flight path is designated to the nav computer, and you follow the flight path. You don't need to make a roll. And you dock to a tube. So the tube docks to airlock 1. So you end up with the space station is on the right-hand side of the ship as you dock. But there you can all hear the exterior, the ship sort of shaking as the exterior docking tube clamps on and connects, and there is a pressurization from inside the airlock.
I'll just send like a intership intercom. We're here. I have told them we are here to connect with another Horizon Relief personnel. Let's go do that. Head down.
Of course, Roth will head to the airlock.
Graz is in position to be the first one off the Shio.
Oh boy.
Graz.
Yes.
The first one off the ship is likely going to have to be the one who starts talking.
I would like to be the second one off the ship.
I will take the first steps.
So, you leave the ship. Biologically happening. You leave the ship. You get into the airlock 1, open up. You're connected to this fairly rickety-looking docking tube, which extends for quite a while, about the length of another ship. You're walking from one dock to the other on this fairly rigid platform that is basically, the way it works is kind of like, imagine a vacuum tube stretched out between the station and the ship with a catwalk inside it. So you're on this catwalk that is suspended around this tube.
On the catwalk?
On the catwalk.
On the catwalk.
On the catwalk. You continue on. Once you get to the other side of the catwalk, it opens up into another airlock, into an anterior airlock that is basically sort of the step before you're actually in the station proper. And waiting for you there is 2 security droids that seem preoccupied with something you can't see, and a Kalish standing in front of you. This Kalish stands at about a little taller than Graz, standing at full height, would be about 7'3", 7'4", but is currently sort of hunched over slightly forward, so they appear at face level to Graz.
That a type of alien?
Yes, a Kalish.
I don't know.
A Kalish. I will continue to describe, and you will know what they look like.
Okay.
Because I was going to do that anyways. Bipedal humanoid. You can see orange skin with a pair of tusks coming out of what you would on a humanoid. Wow, that's a link that somebody put.
Sorry. What is wrong with Google Images these days?
Lots of things. You can see the sort of reddish orange skin peeking out from either side of this red and black painted bone mask that is hanging off the face. Little bits of like bone talons hanging out from where you would assume a chin to be. or on other bipedal humanoids, a chin would be. Two yellow eyes staring at you from sort of the dark interior of the mask, wearing black robes with a long cloak covering over their shoulders, and with a three-fingered claw raised in greeting. It's good to see that the Order has sent me some reinforcements. I assume you're the group of knights that are coming to see me?
What was the name of the master?
Zilda.
Zilda.
Zilda. And I believe
didn't
that would make you
recognize
Zilda.
him.
None of you recognize him. None of you have ever met Zilda.
Is it Archon Zilda or?
Yeah, Archon Zilda.
I believe that would make you Archon Zilda.
You are correct. Let's go before these droids realize I fucked with their programming. And he sort of, with one finger, indicates for you all to follow and turns and heads towards the elevator.
Let's go.
Can we tell if that was through the Force or?
Give me a perception check.
Okay. Difficulty.
Difficulty 2.
Okay.
I'd like to try that too.
Sure.
Nope.
One success,
Sure,
one
why
advantage.
not? Div 2. Doink.
Graz is more concerned with getting people moving rather than stopping to look at the personnel.
Crack heard that somebody did something to some droids.
So Ilyana, Kitty, and Crack, you can see a data spike stuck into the neck of each of these droids. It looks like he just stuck a hack spike into their neck.
Okay, fair.
And presumably it has presumably there's some sort of virus or corrupted code that has a self-detonation time limit where they'll go back to normal after a certain amount of time. He leads you to an elevator, which closes behind you and begins to go down. He looks over at the rest of you. Right, so you all know I'm Archon Zilda. Introductions?
Korsarath.
Vazia.
Rostratha.
And as he speaks, those of you that have never seen a Kalish, you realize that what you thought was the chin is actually his mouth. As the bottom of the mask fluctuates as the mouth opens it up from down there. And those are tusks.
Nerees.
They have really long faces.
Hi.
Crack Tolpa. Excellent work with the spikes. Big fan.
He looks at Ilyana. Hi is a strange name.
It's not my name, it's Ilyana.
Right. Well, as I believe you've been briefed, we're working out here to undermine some specific Hutt cartel interests, and I could use a few able bodies because I've run out of things I can do on my own. Just to get this out of the way, are any of you wanted by the Hutt cartels?
Not to my knowledge.
No, specifically by the cartels, no.
No.
I don't think so.
No.
Good. It's really bad to get multiple bounties on your head, so just wanted to clarify that.
Are you?
Oh yeah, by like 3 of them. So if you see me suddenly start killing people, it's probably because they're bounty hunters.
What
Or
other reason
slavers.
would there be?
We
Well-
will follow your lead.
He raises up one of his hands. Bounty hunters, slavers, other bounty hunters. Raises up another hand. Hutts, Sith, other slavers. That's pretty much it.
Korsarath looks him in the
I was
face.
waiting for that.
He looks over at the two pureblood Sith. Sith the religion, not Sith the species. I guess that is confusing, though. Why do your people do that?
Because they believe that everything revolves around them, and thus everything should be named after them.
Makes sense. Anyways, so the Basadi cartel currently has their claws in this planet. He says, thumbing towards the outside of the ship, using it as an agricultural and industrial world to fuel their various needs and habits. One of the big things that they produce here is spice. Which you all know that spice is a particularly powerful psychoactive drug. It's called spice because it looks kind of like cinnamon.
Spice.
Spice.
Does it turn your eyes blue?
Spice is life.
No, it does not turn your eyes blue. It is not that kind of spice.
Thank you.
It also does not turn you into.
It must flow.
It must flow. It must flow, but it does not turn you into a sandworm.
Cool.
Okay, good.
I'm done now.
Also, fuck Dune.
That worm would ruin you.
Damn it.
The Baldesian cartel, you mean, Craig?
No, Garensla.
Oh, the Garensla cartel? Sure.
Yeah.
Give me you 3 dot. Hang on, let me double check my own lore information.
It's not anything, it's not a big secret. Craig doesn't really hide stuff. I didn't want to slow us down, which I'm doing anyway. So I'm sorry.
That's all right. Yes, you know about the Garensla.
Okay. So Craig would say, you mentioned 3 cartels. What are the others? Is Garensla one of them?
I don't know the other 2. The only ones I know are the Baldesians. What the fuck did I just say? Baldesians.
Very good.
Why? Do you have something specific with the Garenslas?
No, they on the legal side of their operations, I understand they supply some equipment in which I have some interest.
If you're looking for starship parts, I'm sure we can find you something.
Sure, starship parts, absolutely. Also, cyborg parts.
I was gonna say Ilyana's just like
being willing to hold that information for about half a second.
I'm hoping to find stuff too, but the things I need are things that people don't understand the value of.
I think what we're looking for most at the moment will be credits.
Well, don't worry. You'll have plenty of opportunity to steal some ill-gotten credits and potentially use them however you feel fit.
I would like to retroactively, not that it matters now, but I would like to retroactively rescind my trying to lean towards one of the more espionage-minded missions.
This is Craig. He doesn't talk. I definitely don't.
How can we help you here, though?
Well, we are going to, after getting y'all situated here for a little bit and making nice with the authorities, I assume you used the rendezvousing with personnel?
Yes.
Yeah. We're going to make nice with the authorities on the station for a little bit, and then we're going to head down to the planet using your ship. There is a spice operation in the southern hemisphere of the planet that I am currently looking to disrupt explosively.
Do we have a line on the particular brand of explosives?
To say how specific or how literal is explosively being used then?
As literal as we can.
Oh, goody.
Do we have the payload for that, or are we finding it?
We are finding it. Specifically, there is a Sith Empire shipment of supplies and troops going to be landing on the planet in the next day. Their supplies will become our explosives.
Where are those bound to?
They're bound for the spice facility. It looks like the Sith Empire is doing some spice trading.
Of course they are.
So the plan: hit the Imperial supply convoy, take whatever supplies we want or need, use those to destroy a spice operation, and free some slaves while we're there, and give them passage off board on your lovely ship. Sound good?
Excellent.
Absolutely. Are we looking to intercept them prior to landing or after landing?
I don't have a plan there yet, so my thought was after landing, but I'll leave that up to the many brilliant minds the Exarch has felt so sufficient to send me.
If we're going to try and intercept them prior to landing, we would need to know more about the convoy and if we even have the chance of boarding them. If they're going to be too heavily armed, we'll have to do it after landing.
How likely to get involved are the cartel enforcers?
Guns.
What was that? Correct?
How likely are the local cartel enforcers to get involved with an altercation on the station?
On the station? Very. This is their station.
But on the planet or in the air above.
On the planet? Also very. This is their planet.
Mm-hmm.
Basically anywhere in the immediate vicinity. Very.
Yes. Now,
Perhaps
that
some of
being
you
said,
missed it.
we have a few hours before we can head back out to make the excuse look good. So, if anyone wants to try poking around the station while we're here and gathering a few supplies that might be essential on board, then we can do that. I'm not really good at the technical stuff. That was pretty much the full extent of my kit. He said, pointing back up towards the elevator.
Excellent. We'll see what we can find that might be of good use.
All right. Well, also, by the way, another reason I asked about bounties. There's a reason why this station is named what it is. Any of you that know Huttese, which you are free to determine amongst yourself if you know Huttese or not, know that Murashani means bounty hunter in Huttese. There's a reason this place is called Murashani Station. He says, as the elevator doors open up, and you see a widely eclectic variety of individuals on what looks like a marketplace floor. It has all the bearings of like a bazaar, except inside, and with roughly the right with this sort of like weirdly orangey brown lighting that hut structures favor. You see people in a wide variety of eclectic pieces of armor wandering around from stall to stall, making bargains, buying things. There's a lot of room noise, and some of you see a couple of Trandoshans wandering around with their particular battle staffs and rifles slung over shoulders, bargaining with Toydarians who are selling them things in Huttese. A couple of you see a trio of Mandalorians whose armor is not the same color scheme as Saris's, but is similar. Saris's armor is silver and red with these bone attachments. You're seeing several red and black Mandalorian armors that are currently wandering around. You see a few Dugs that looked strapped to the fucking teeth. Dugs, for anyone who aren't familiar, are from episode 1. They're the Sebulba was a Dug. These bipedal dog-like creatures that walk on their hands or walk on their arms and use their feet for hands. Just fucking strapped to the teeth. And a wide variety of other weird and strange assortments, all on the station. As Zelda looks back at you.
With that kind of lead in, I was expecting there's a reason it's called Bounty Hunter Station, and the door opens and there's already guns pointing at us.
Yeah, no. Zelda, not doing anything to hide his helmet, which is a very obvious. The rest of his outfit is black, and this helmet is blood red. This bone mask is blood red. He sort of turns, looks at you, and looks at the rest of you and says, "There's a lot of bounty hunters here, so take care who you talk to and what you say." And he winks, and his wink works because he doesn't have fur all over the place.
Legit.
His wink works especially because Kalish eyes are practically lambent.
Yeah, they glow. They're real yellow.
Reese, make sure their concealing cloak is just, up. Good. Okay.
Crack will reach over and help adjust it.
Yep.
Graz actually sheds his cloak and they stow their lightsaber. The only weapon they're carrying openly is the truncheon currently.
And just for the record, I've changed out since we're at the station now, changed out my saber for taking off the
it's just an action.
Attachment.
They're both built into your arm, so it's just an action to turn it on or off. So
okay.
It's like when you flip a lens in a camera that has built-in lenses. It's like shink.
Got it. Okay, then it's.
Corsarat doesn't conceal the lightsaber because he's a Sith and he should have a lightsaber. Just by being a pureblood, that kind of draws attention to him. And if he didn't have a lightsaber, that'd be a problem. But he does make sure the blaster is very prominent.
Anyone else?
It never occurred to Kitty to not have it in a bag, so it's still in a bag.
Is anyone else making any specific adjustments to their attire?
Yes, probably pulling hood up. And Ilyana's actually going to pull back a little bit, so a little bit less prominent and obvious in a position.
Yeah.
Crack does nothing unless anyone suggests it.
Using nothing.
Using his bulk to hide your adjustments, because Zilda is taller and broader than all of you as well. He looks, nods. All right, well, he holds out his comlink and then holds out a slip of paper to Corsorath. Here's you've got my comm. Give me a ring once you're all. If you find anything interesting, I'll give you all a ring when we're ready to get back together.
Best drinks.
For the best drinks, you're gonna want to go to the porthole. He says, pointing over to a large rickety sign that just says the porthole, which enters into another room.
Mm-hmm.
Although I will qualify best as being still bad.
Did he basically hand us a frequency or a designator?
Designation, so it's direct to his comlink.
So I will hand him another one with ours then.
He takes it back. So that it can't get, so that's harder to intercept, basically.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, if you'll excuse me, I've got a few questions of my own to ask. And he turns and walks away. And you watch him very pointedly move into the path of a Trandoshan and shove the Trandoshan out of the way. The Trandoshan growls and barks at him, but seeing the size differential, doesn't pursue anything.
Well, it looks like our Archon has the right idea. I think I'll go try and catch a few Trandoshan eyes in the porthole.
Right. I'm going to see who has the instinct to cower and who doesn't, because people who know Imperials know when they should duck.
Excellent. And Graz will make sure that their comlink is easily accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Do we all have individual comms by this point? Is that something we got like with the ship or with our gear or anything? I don't have one.
There should have been. There was a comlink in the utility belts.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to double check because I wasn't sure.
Yep.
And Graz is gonna go see if there's any Trandoshans that are looking for some easy Jagannath points.
Jeremy, what were you saying?
I didn't say anything.
Oh.
You're hearing things.
Sorry, you started to say something earlier, and I guess you finished your sentence, and I didn't realize it. I apologize. All right. So,
Corsorath is looking for anyone who has enough Imperial knowledge to recognize I should be out of the way when a Sith comes walking, and is going to find that person.
Vazia will go with Corsorath.
Following the Sith.
Okay. So
Sticking close.
Ilyana sticking close to the Sith. Graz is heading to the bar. Nere's, Kitty, and Crack.
Does Graz make it apparent that he's going to get into trouble?
He just said.
I feel like that.
He said that out loud. Yes.
Oh, that was okay. So that was said out loud.
Oh yeah, everything Graz just said was said out loud as a means of informing everybody else what their intentions.
He's going.
I'm gonna go see if some Trandoshans want to have a fight. Basically, what he said.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking for some Jagannath points.
I didn't realize that was out loud. Crack says, maybe I should follow Graz. And does. Hey, Graz, you want to come to a pawn shop? I want to sell some things and get some credits.
Yes. Once we've gotten the lay of the land, that might not be a bad idea.
Okay, I'll tag along and then we can go after you finish.
I need to mute myself. Give me 1 second. Please continue on.
Mm-hmm. Being the two people remaining there, Kitty will sort of look to Nereus.
Oh God, we left them alone.
Kitty is over it. Kitty has been over it for 2 weeks. Kitty was over it 30 seconds after it happened. Preferences?
No, I have not been anywhere like this before.
Then it's probably smart to stick with someone who has. You can
You
go
have.
wherever you want, but I don't want you to go alone if you don't know what you're doing.
Where do you think we can find things?
John, you are muted if you're saying anything to us.
No, he's on a call.
he said
I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Where do you think we can find useful information?
I usually just let Groth do the information gathering. It might be very instructive to know what kind of things they sell. We could walk past some of the stalls.
Yes. Let us look around and see what is here.
I feel like the bar scene is probably the easiest to do with GM not present.
Yeah. Sounds good. So Graz will, let's see. Welcome back.
Sorry.
We'll let you decide where we go first then.
No, what are you doing? I had to make a call, so.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Graz is walking into the bar, making himself as apparent a figure as they can, and stepping up to the bar and just ordering the first thing that they see.
Oh God, this looks like twins. Schwarzenegger and DeVito just wandered into the bar.
A little bit.
But if there are any Trandoshans at the bar, actually, that's what they want to see first.
There are definitely some Trandoshans in this bar.
Okay. So yeah, Graz just busts in.
In fact, you see one of them. You see the one that Zilda shoved bodily away. In this bar.
Okay.
What's a Trandoshan?
Perfect then.
And why is this important?
A Trandoshan, for those who might
you
not
will
know.
find out in a few minutes.
Okay.
Very well might not know.
I'm going to go ahead and describe what Trandoshans look like for other people because we're now interacting with them. Trandoshans are large, not quite as big as Wookiees, but bigger than most other humanoids. Lizard people. They look like they look kind of like if a crocodile stood up. And was a little bit more humanoid. They tend to wear very like short sleeved spacer gear. They've got pretty solid scale structure. Look almost like, actually more kind of like D&D lizard folk.
Yeah. Bosk is a Trandoshan. If you've seen him in Clone Wars, hangs around. He hangs around.
I'm really bad at remembering names.
That's fine.
He hangs around with young Boba Fett.
They are large lizard people.
I don't think you're there yet.
They are large lizard people who have a society that revolves around hunting, and the hunt is a religious thing for them. Their goddess is the scorekeeper. who basically tallies the Trandoshan's hunts throughout their life, and if they get a high enough score by the time they die, they can ascend to a deified position. And as such, they become bounty hunters, they become slavers, they become hunters, they become survivalists. They seek out bigger and bigger challenges to achieve that goal. And they were the species that found Wookiees and saw Wookiees as, oh, those are worth a lot of points. And thus have had an ancestral hatred with each other ever since. So since Wookiees became known in the Galactic Circuit, they and Trandoshans at each other.
While we might not have any bounties, we are targets for being Wookiees occasionally.
Basically.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
You're not a bounty target, but you are a hunt target.
Yep. So yeah, Graz will bust in the bar. Spot, especially the guy who got shoved aside, and basically sort of roughly shoulder them out of the way a little bit while putting in the order.
Yeah, they
almost as though they did it accidentally.
You step in, the heavy footsteps sort of echo a little bit. Quiets down, and everybody turns to look at you. You do the looking around bit, approach your track.
What does Graz order?
I'm not up to date on my Star Wars liquor.
Would Graz have something in mind, or is Graz just sort of going up but focused on the Trandoshans?
He's going up, and basically Graz is approaching the bar as though they're not really paying attention to anybody around them, but specifically targeting the section that the Trandoshans are at in an effort to attract some level of attention.
Hey, Graz, do you want to get some Zinfar?
Do I have any idea what that is?
It's a liquor from Dak. I was too young to drink it when I left. I've never had any. Let's see if they do.
Works for me.
For the record, I support the idea that in all sci-fi universes, in fact, all universes, whether sci-fi or others, there is a pan-galactic gargle blaster.
Yeah, as well as a gin and tonic.
Yep.
Obviously. Put in there.
It's only the best drink ever made.
So you order some Zinfar.
It is bright pink.
Nice.
I don't know what it is, so go ahead and describe it for me.
It is a fizzy drink that is native to Dak or Mon Calamari, the planet where the species Mon Calamari and the Quarren species come from.
And by this point, it's already known.
Okay, all right. So it is a very, very dense, heavy liquid. I think the concept being that it can be decanted underwater as well. But it is also effervescent, and it is bright, almost luminous pink.
Dope.
Okay, I know what this tastes like now.
It's spelled Xinphar.
Okay.
Zinfar.
Calamari's.
Yep, that's the one.
Nice.
So, you shove a Trandoshan out of the way. There is some Huttese in response. Do either of you speak Huttese?
Graz has a passable comprehension.
Does Crack speak Huttese?
Crack does not speak Huttese.
So
I can't think of any reasonable reason he would.
There is something there is something like that sounds like gibberish coming out of this Trandoshan, Crack. Graz, you hear the Trandoshan muttering about how there are too many of these walking furballs on the station right now. As he sort of shifts away, you get the suspicion that Zilda already robbed him of his hunt point a minute ago. So he's not feeling up to a fight right now.
Okay.
I wouldn't change my comprehension of it. I would like to suggest that Crack knows enough Huttese to read technical manuals printed in Huttese, but no conversational Huttese whatsoever.
All right, yeah, that works. So still gibberish.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Because very rarely do technical manuals talk about walking furballs.
Yeah, exactly. He said something about floor covering.
I also like the potential, Craig, correct me if this would be wrong, that it's like you understand the written language, but not necessarily how it is spoken.
Oh, what? Yeah, 100%.
Like you have no idea how it's pronounced at times.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I know these kanji.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes.
Don't know what they say.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
So Graz will grab the drinks.
Still boost plate.
If the Trandoshan crowd doesn't seem inclined to immediately throw down, find a table, set the drinks down, sit down, and sort of slouch the second utility belt, not their siren fiber one, but the other one, onto the table. That's the one that the cred stick is slightly poking out one of the pockets of.
Oh.
And take a drink.
So the drinks cost 10 credits.
Okay.
Uh,
Graz will cover that.
It tastes like you're drinking slime. Like it's really viscous, it's really thick, and it's kind of sweet, but in a this might be poisonous method of sweet. It's where you get to that point where it's like, I might be in a trap right now, kind of realization as it very slowly slides down your throat. Meanwhile, Crack, being of a species that's designed to drink this, it just sort of like slurp. It's not particularly heavy alcohol content. This is definitely this is definitely more of a a cocktail than hard liquor.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it tastes really good to Crack. Graz, it tastes weird. Almost like you're drinking a jellyfish.
Yeah.
But not in the Jello shots way.
Yeah, no.
All right.
Jellyfish are thicker than Jello. Not by much, but
And
they are thicker than Jello.
Graz will wait to see if we are confronted, and otherwise just try and pick up any stray conversation in the area.
All you're doing. What were Kitty and Neri's doing?
We were just gonna walk around and see what we could see.
Yeah, Kitty had suggested like looking at if there's stalls or shops, understanding what those stalls and shops sell could be instructive.
Okay.
Doesn't have the intention of going into anywhere.
So
but doesn't want to leave Nereis, who has never been to an underground station, alone on an underground station. Or not underground.
Orbital station.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Underworld.
Yeah. So looking around as you're sort of maneuvering crowds, you can buy pretty much anything here. You see weapons dealers. You see explosives dealers. You see a wide variety of drug dealers selling their wares openly, blatantly, advertiser friendly, all this fun. There are a couple of stalls that are selling. They don't have any of the product. I'm using this in heavy air quotes because I do not consider sentient products, but they do.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have any of their slaves there, but there are a couple of stalls that are selling slaves, and they have like holograms of the stock quotes again on display. Kind of like, you can see it, but you can't actually see the actual people.
Right.
But yeah, literally anything that you want, you can probably find somebody who sells some amount.
Do I get any sense of like what the, I guess, popular items, the things that there's many stalls for, seem to be in high demand are, or no?
Most there's a wide variety of everything, but the largest volume of stalls are definitely drug. From recreational to medicinal to poisonous, and like they run the gambit. Gamut.
Oh jeez, I really want to buy some neuroparalytic, but I don't want to spend all my money.
I mean, I have one on me. You don't know that.
Nereus will definitely see Kitty sort of eyeing the poison and like stuff like that goods potentially longer than is strictly necessary.
Okay. I have 5 credits to my name. Is there anything you can buy?
Not really.
Yeah, fair.
Can of oil.
Yeah.
But other than that, just trying to pass the time, pretend to gather intel, and just let everyone else deal with it.
I'm more trying to get a sense of how, like, people are moving around on the station. If there's guards, what they look like, who's kind of making way for whom, that kind of thing. I'm trying to get like a sense of the social flow of things versus the materials, because that's not interesting to me.
Yeah, cool check.
Okay.
For the record, you can run the gambit, but you're not going to tire him out because he's been pretty much run his entire life.
Pretty much.
What's the difficulty on that?
Oh my god.
2.
2? Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So the guards are pretty easy to spot. They're wearing a bit of a ragtag uniform, but it is still a uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly it's Gamorreans and Trandoshans and a few other humanoids that you can't see because their faces are. Gamorreans are the large pig people that you see on Tatooine. They're literally just walking pigs with axes.
As opposed to the small pig people who are Ugnaughts.
As opposed to the small people who are
Okay.
Ugnaughts. There are 2 sizes of pig people in Star Wars. Ugnaughts and...
I have spoken.
What?
I said I have spoken.
Oh.
Also, for those unfamiliar stories, don't feel bad if you don't keep track of all of the races. There are literally 300 some of them.
Yes, there are a lot. And more getting added every release of a comic or movie. But yeah, so mostly you're seeing Gamorreans and Trandoshans and humanoids in this ragtag, loosely looking uniform. Is a uniform spot the unit. Aside from them, who are pretty much standing around the entries and exits and aren't really it seems like might makes right here, which sort of gives you an idea as to why Zilda progressed the way he did after leaving you guys. If you are big and tough and don't give a shit, people will move the fuck out of your way.
Yep.
Unless they think they're bigger and tougher and give less of a shit, in which case a fight will happen.
I'm assuming a couple of those happen.
Oh yeah, no, the sound of blaster fire is not frequent, but is not unheard. Within the first 30 minutes, you hear the sound of blaster fire. The guards don't move, and it stops because someone has died. Eventually, you see a corpse getting dragged out.
Okay. Do I see any sort of I guess how they might like coordinate, communicate with each other? Anything on the walls as far as an intercom system, communications they have on their belts, anything like that?
There is an intercom system. There are also cameras.
Okay.
Which are these long, they look kind of like mechanical eyeballs on tendrils that sort of pop out of the ceiling and look or popping back. There are those. There's definitely intercoms and thing, but as far as the guards, it's easier to see it on the Gamorreans than any of the others, but they have headpieces that connect to the ear and mouth. And you see them occasionally grunting in. Lionel. Corserath and Avasia, I want you both to make presence. I'm going to make them intimate.
Just straight presence?
Does intimidation use presence?
Coercion is will, charm is presence, negotiation is presence.
What is
There isn't really a straight
not
intimidate
an
roll.
intimidate roll?
Coercion is deception.
I keep getting.
No, coercion.
Coercion is willpower.
I'm sorry. Yeah. There is straight deception. Coercion is.
Okay.
Coercion is the system's version of intimidation.
Well,
Yeah.
we're gonna make it either. We're gonna make it either leadership or coercion.
I'm gonna go with leadership.
What's the difficulty on this?
Difficulty 2.
Also, you're quieter than everyone else for some reason.
Yeah.
I had to turn my volume down because I was on a call. There, I fixed it.
Yep.
Just let me know and I can fix it.
I have advantages.
You. Avasia has a failure. So, you notice that there are definitely people that take note of you. But at least on the bizarre level, there doesn't seem to be any kowtowing. There doesn't seem to be any like Imperial agents or well, Imperial agents wouldn't kowtow. They'd be covert at the moment. But there doesn't seem to be anybody that is Sith aligned enough that they care that you're there, other than taking note of the fact, oh, there's a pair of Sith here. Well, if shit kicks off, I'm going the other way, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Do I need
sort of
to
like
roll to be inconspicuous?
Yes, go ahead and give me a streetwise or stealth.
Stealth for sure.
Hmm?
Div 2.
Yeah, Div 2.
A success and an advantage.
It is fortunately very easy for you to go unnoticed because you're walking behind the pair of Sith.
Right, exactly.
And they are.
By that same token, I am walking along with a pair of Sith.
Yeah.
So more eyes are headed that way.
No, that's fair. But they are definitely you're not the person that people are reacting to.
Cool.
The Sith are actively trying to get attention. So
yes.
It doesn't seem like anybody, at least on the bizarre level, are particularly Sith aligned.
Do I have a particular thought of where I would go if I was looking for Imperial informants, if nothing else? People who could tell me details about the incoming
Give me an education. That'll be an education roll for you. Difficulty 2.
Difficulty
2.
It's not going to go well. Didn't go well.
You were the assassin, not the spy master.
Yeah, no, I wasn't. I went where people told me to and killed who people told me to.
Yeah, so you have no idea what the protocols would be for undercover in hut space.
Can I try that?
You can, but it'll be difficulty 3 for you because you were not a member of Imperial Intelligence.
Oh.
Yeah,
no failures, just threats.
Yep.
You also no idea. You've never worked with Imperial Intelligence before. You wouldn't know unless they were in uniform, you wouldn't know what an Imperial Intelligence officer would look like. So I do need to make a roll for someone else. Do.
Easiest way is to get them to come to you. Is there a postings board, not just bounties, but general news?
There are TVs, like monitors that have news broadcasts playing from throughout the galaxy. Actually, it's like a monitor wall. That just has a bunch of different things happening. Difficulty. That roll. Okay.
He has the advantage part of the triumph, but not the success.
We'll see.
In which case, he will make his way to Probably to the nearest job board at that point. Then
That shouldn't have been. Sure. So you head to a job board, which is basically it's a magnetic board that has a lot of pucks attached to them, each one with like a dollar amount holographically projected on them, but no details until you pick them up and turn them over. But it's just a whole bunch of pucks magnetically attached to the wall.
Yeah, he'll take a scan over them real quick to see if anything is of particular interest, but is really watching for anyone who's watching him.
Sure, give me a perception check, difficulty 3. And Ilyana and Navasi, you can also make that check.
Okay.
I'm not rolling great tonight. So that's why I have friends.
3.
Jeremy remains the king of the wash.
So Avasia. The only reason you noticed this and the only reason it stands out is because of the skin color. But you see a chiss that sort of just walks by you, the group of you. It's the only chiss you've seen. Chiss are the blue-skinned, red eyes. Blue skin, okay. Red eyes, black hair. Nibishuza.
Same race as Nibishuza.
Yeah, Nibishuza is also a chiss.
Okay.
You also might know they're pretty rare, John.
Yes, they are very rare, and except for Nibishuza, universally aligned with the Sith Empire.
And it just walked by. It's not like watching us or anything
just
like that.
Walked past you.
Yeah, because the Chiss home world is part of the Empire.
No, it is independent. It is the Empire's only ally.
Yeah, okay.
She will kind of elbow Corsoreth.
Look.
Point in that direction.
Do I recognize a Chiss intelligence officer?
I mean, you see a Chiss. It doesn't look like an intelligence officer, but it's a Chiss.
It's a Chiss, so odds are good.
Yeah. It might be Sith. It might be Ascendancy. The Chiss Ascendancy is the name of their...
Yeah, is their nation.
Their government. So it might be a member of the Ascendancy. It might be a member of the Sith Empire. It might be independent. There are independent Chiss, but...
They're rare, but they exist.
Yeah.
There's one who's a bartender on Nar Shaddaa.
And one who's the leader of the Twilight Order.
So, look over. Well, if there was any alien species I did not expect to see on this station, it is that one.
Mm-hmm.
Might be worth tailing.
All right. All of us or one of us?
Did Ilyana ask why?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I'm assuming Ilyana is not familiar with the in-depth politics and societal racial alliances of the Sith Empire.
Because the vast majority of the Chiss species are either allies of or active members of the Sith Empire. To see an independent Sith is the exception rather than the rule.
Chiss.
Sorry, Chiss. Yes, independent Chiss.
Fair enough.
Should one of us tail or all of us?
I would say one of us should keep an eye on them and see if they continue to circle back as if watching.
I can do that.
So you're looking at Avasia and as Jeremy's character's name just blanks in my head, Ilyana.
It's okay. I couldn't remember it at the beginning of the episode either.
Ilyana, I believe you're the quietest of us.
I also potentially know the least of what we're looking for.
He stands out in the crowd.
Yeah.
Blue skin, red eyes.
All right.
Look for anything out of the ordinary.
Can do that. Hold on just a second here. I'm gonna look at something. Yeah, well, I believe I got the upgrade. So I'm gonna try. To look ahead a bit and try to focus on this dude.
Okay. So you're going to.
So I'm like, okay, perfect, and then she shuts her eyes, and
So you're going to use
sits
Force
there
C.
for a moment. Yes.
You're trying to spend 2 points to speak specifically
Assuming
about
that I
that?
get 2
Yeah.
points.
Okay, cool.
Yep. We'll see how this goes.
And make your roll.
That should not have been.
Just ignore the difficulty, but
Yeah.
only 1 point.
Yeah.
But you can still you can still use that to see into
I
your
can still
immediate
look
future.
ahead and hope that something in it. That's where I'm thinking. So maybe, but
Look at the specifics.
Or I just see creepy things.
Yeah.
Because it takes being able to spend an additional force point to pick out specific details, or to have a number of extra days. But I can still.
I grabbed the Age of Rebellion core book instead of the Force and Destiny core book. Which does not.
It's also, if you need to look at it, that stuff is all the full text of it is on my sheet under my abilities. Combat.
All right. So you are spending 1 to gain vague hints of events to come up to a day in your own personal future.
Yep.
So you sort of close your eyes and focus, and you see Corserath talking to someone. You don't see who. Seems to be you don't get details, but you get an emotion of just this sort of tenseness to Corserath in particular.
Okay.
You see Zilda killing several people. That may have already happened. You're not certain on that one. There have been a few deaths already. You see your ship landing on planet. And you see the internal workings of a spice operation. And that's it.
Okay. So then she just opens up her eyes, gets just a general look of motherfucker, and gets up and tries to find a position where I will be able to keep a better eye on.
Oh yeah, those are. They're oddly, it seems like there are several places in this bazaar that are specifically designed for people to post up,
right,
and like keep an eye out. And many, like some of them are very clearly for guards, but then there are some that are there that seem obvious just to be there.
Right. One that is specifically sort of out of the way because she doesn't want to.
Yeah.
Be particularly open and easily found herself.
Yeah. You can go ahead and give me a perception check.
Okay.
Difficulty 2.
Bump and skills. Ignore the. Sure, there I get 2 force points. Go fuck yourself, stupid Star Wars dice. Fantasy Flight Games, you can.
With an advantage, and no successes or failures. You're keeping an eye out. You don't see the Chiss again.
Okay.
You do see a distinct lack of Chiss in the room. There was only the one, as far as you can tell.
Right.
So that's something, but you don't see them circling back or anything.
Okay. I will just murmur that over a communicator and keep an eye out.
Right, so Korsarath and Avasia, where were you going after that? Or were you going anywhere? Were you going to try to follow?
Yeah, unless Avasia has any kind of idea, I think Korsarath is probably walking in the direction that the Chiss walked off in.
Yeah.
Right.
Tell him.
Are you doing it subtly or openly and brazenly?
Definitely walking openly, but not openly following. Sort of just walking in the same direction.
So, okay, so that'll be streetwise. Give me a streetwise roll, difficulty 2. To follow without seeming to follow.
I am not rolling well.
So, Korsarath, your part of your whole deal is that all of your espionage training is tied up in traumatic memories, so it's hard to access. And Avasia, you've never had espionage training, so you're just like winging it. So the two of you follow the Chiss, and Ilyana, you keeping an eye on the room. You can very clearly tell they're following someone.
Yep.
Although if a Sith is following someone, that's a warning for most people who are on the sidelines. So
yeah, you guys hear over the communicator. You might want to dial down the obviousness a little bit. Just saying.
Pull it back. Pull it back.
You're at about an 11. You need to be at about a 7.
I will try to dial back the intimidation factor.
Be less Sith is what I'm trying to say.
Think blue skin, not red skin.
You know, like literally everything about you. If you could just not for a minute.
Just not. Yes.
I feel like that is actually the slogan of this group. You know everything about you. You could just not for a minute.
So
you're not wrong.
Korsarath and Avasia, in following this individual, you leave the bazaar. You sort of exit out one of the doorways and cut a corner and find yourself in a fairly empty corridor. As you walk down a few steps, you hear a figure stepping out into the corridor behind you. And this modulated voice, this sort of modulated voice from behind you goes, sounds like it's coming out of a mask or something. Well, my lord and lady, to what do I owe the pleasure?
I look behind me.
You see a figure standing in a black jumpsuit with a equally black helmet, full face covering everything over their face, leaning against a support beam in the wall.
That depends on who believes they have the right to ask that question.
The figure stands up straight and offers a very small bow. Not a mocking bow, but the bow that says, "You're clearly not my superior, and I report to someone far higher than you." Kind of bow. A simple servant of the Sith Empire, here to do a job.
He sort of looks, just stares at the eye slots of the mask for a minute. Then you don't owe me any pleasure. What do you want?
I'm just curious why a pair of noble Sith are wandering around on my station.
Your station.
Well, nominally it belongs to the Hutts, but we all know that eventually all things meet the same end.
That of the Empire, yes.
Precisely.
We are here on our own business, unless you think your business aligns with ours.
That would depend on what your business is, my lord.
And what is your business?
You can sort of sense the smile behind the mask. I would be a very poor tool if I were to relieve that information, if I were to reveal that information willy-nilly.
But you expect us to.
Well, my lords obviously have no fear of reprisal. There's a very slight mocking edge to that.
Let's just say we're looking for people and information.
The universal truth. There's only two things of value, people and information. Perhaps I could help you find this information or people that you seek, and we will see if, in turn, our goals align.
Perhaps you could. Do I recall, off of that bounty board, any particular Republic targets?
Give me a...
Because I was there like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, but you weren't like really looking at it. You were looking around it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what a recall incidental information roll might be.
Potentially something that would be the convenient thing is true use of a force point.
Yeah, you could use a force point to recall a specific Republic target.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Right. So go ahead and flip a force point.
Yep.
Yes, there is actually a bounty. There's a Sith Empire bounty for an admiral that is rumored to be operating in the vicinity, in the Outer Rim territories. And so basically the Hutt cartel has bounties throughout their stations as a favor because they bought a lot of stuff. They also have Sith Empire bounties on all their boards too, so it's like sort of, same thing both ways.
Yeah.
Equal opportunity.
Yeah, we'll take money from anybody.
What's this admiral's name?
Yeah, hang on one second. Sorry, I'm having to... Part of the downside of running this game at this time is that I also have to work halfway through it, and so it's like... Admiral Dunbrick was the name that you saw. You didn't pick up the chip, so you didn't get any further information, but Admiral Dunbrick.
It's been rumored that a Republic officer by the name of Admiral Dunbrick might be a danger to potential interests and Sith cargo transportation within the region. And so the potential movements of nearby Sith transports and any potential danger they might be in is currently my business.
Give me a persuasion or coercion roll.
Charm?
Charm, yeah. Charm or coercion, difficulty 3.
Charm, difficulty 3.
Yep.
Definitely charm. I'll spend another light side. Sorry, I can use our last one.
Go ahead.
That's better.
Yeah, 3 successes, but 4 threat. The masked figure is silent. We might be able to help each other, my lord. If you wouldn't mind following me, and he indicates to a side panel that is a wall, not a door.
Mm-hmm.
And if it seems like you're willing to follow, he will move over, push sort of a hidden panel, and the wall slides away.
Surreptitiously adjust weapons, but follow.
You step into a maintenance ladder that goes down. He's already climbing down, or sliding down, really. And as you fall...
Sorry, just Valzia will whisper to Corsaroth. I don't trust him.
You shouldn't. He's probably Imperial intelligence. But stay close. Follow after.
You follow after. The ladder ends in a maintenance bay that has been retrofitted into what looks like a listening post. You see a small number of Imperial officer uniforms wandering around, all human. The black outfit removes the helmet to reveal a chiss beneath. Blue skin, red eyes, immaculately kept hair. Pardon the subtlety, my lord. Cypher
Is this
7.
the one that walked by us?
Yeah, it's the same one. It's the only shit you've seen on the station. Cypher 7. And he holds out a hand.
Did I have a particular agent name?
No, you weren't a Cypher. You were very specifically the tool of your mother. So it was your name that you went under. So your name would be known.
Mm-hmm.
Just before you introduce yourself as Courser Wrath.
Yeah, that's the thing that I need to know is whether or not my name would be recognizable.
You can make an education or lore check, difficulty 3, to come up with a potentially reasonable Imperial intelligence name.
I'll go with lore, but I have another name if I need it.
Okay.
2 successes, though.
So shadow designations. Shadow designations are similar to Cypher agents, except they work far more independently, and they are not recorded. So a shadow numeral, the only way that you would get called on it is if this Cypher agent knows that shadow number.
Do I happen to know how high shadow numbers get?
No idea.
Shadow 12. Shaking the hand.
There's a slight pause. I hadn't realized a shadow agent was in operation around this area.
That's kind of the point, isn't it?
Fair enough. So you're looking for Admiral Dunbrick.
Mm-hmm.
He leads you over to a console where and sort of shoos away the human handler there. Well, we're here monitoring Republic communications. There is a Republic squad that we've been monitoring, though we didn't know if we still don't know if Admiral Dunbrick is a part of it. They are planet side, on the opposite side of the planet from the station. It's hard to get communications because they're using the shadow of the planet to hide. But we have ready information that they have a camp hidden in the mountains.
Would that camp potentially be anywhere near the location of the current on-planet spice trade?
You're well informed, Shadow Agent. No. The encampment is far away from our upcoming rendezvous.
I've been warned that the Admiral might be looking to hinder those operations, but potentially he might be looking at other targets as well, if he is involved in whatever you've seen planet side.
Well, if they're using the planet shadow to hide in, it would make sense if they were trying to strike at our own operations with the Hutts, try to sow mistrust between our organizations. We should probably get more soldiers assigned to the transport then. Thank you for the warning. I'll make sure to give our transport authority a call.
Keep an eye on the transport. I suspect once it makes it down to the planet, they've lost their opportunity, especially if their forces have to leave.
Oh, they've already got forces. They've already got forces on the planet. I imagine they would, if they were to strike at the ship, it would either be in the air with anti-air turrets, anti-air weaponry, or once it's on the ground in a ambush. We should have them ready for an ambush, I feel.
Perhaps, but it might be wiser to be prepared to eliminate them before they begin to move.
Are you volunteering your services, Shadow 12?
I might, though that would require a transition down to planet side.
We could arrange for a shuttle to take you and your associate, indicating Avasia. Well, though we would have to touch down before we reach the horizon. We're not certain where their base is on the opposite side of the planet. Just that it is there.
I have a number of operatives that I've been working alongside. They've got their own business, but all of it tends to land planet side at some point.
Well then, We might just see you and your operatives down. Potentially provide some utilities that you might be able to make use of. We do have a slight cache of supplies to benefit any other Cypher agents that come through assisting.
I think some point between the horizon and the potential target's location might be best.
And as you are currently having this negotiation with Cypher 7, that's where we're going to end for this week. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye.